Hello, I would like to welcome you to my talk at the Destinies of Senses exhibition. First, present myself. My name is MariaPitaGuerreiro. I'm a Portuguese designer currently living in Stockholm in Sweden, doing a master program at the University of Arts, Craft and Design Construct. I will present two projects this afternoon, 350 Underwater, made in collaboration with João Abreu Valente. He is my co-founder and partner in crime of our together studio based in Lisbon called João OJEAM Studio. And I will present also the project Vitamin D Home Lab, made in the current master program last year at Construct University. But starting from the beginning, I will first share the video of 360 Underwater project. 350 Underwater is a project created at the artistic residency Resves partnership with the Faculty of Fine Arts University of Lisbon in the year of 2016. Since it's a site-specific project in the region of Mértola, the starting point was the river Guadiana, and it has been the most important way of communication and interconnection between the city and the rest of Portugal. In a brief historical context, through the decades and under the influence of all the communities passed by, the river worked as a commercial port center, and layers of excavated civilizations under Mértola revealed mainly ceramic artifacts grasping through the river edges. As an interpretation of the exploitation of the force of the water and the influences that the river carries around, we have created the world's first hydraulic ceramic 3D printer. 360 Underwater works through a water mill activating simultaneously a rotating potter's wheel and the extruder that prints ceramic containers. 360 Underwater aims to critically approach a fast-speed technology that allows us nowadays to build almost everything in a faster and unconscious way. On the other hand, the call for a post-digital era defending a junction between manual, artisanal logic and digital language. By exaggerating and extending the process of making an object, the value of its production can be enhanced. Therefore, 360 Underwater prints at a very slow speed according to the river's current, meaning it could take a whole day to make a ceramic pot, proposing a scenario of stepping back, consider and enjoy the process of making new things. Digging a bit more on the theme of Destinies of Senses at TheWRONG Biennale, that digital technology has already taken over the commonplace life, this project of an hydraulic 3D printer that moves with the force of the river is reversing the control of a man-made machine with digital language powered by nature instead. On one hand, this results in unpredictable behavior, but on the other hand, maybe it provides us with a new connection with ourselves. I think at the foundation of every product, there is a production process. When we replace craftsmen by machines, we lose translation of local influences in our products. What if our machines could become more sensory? What if the machine could sense the local environment and incorporate it into the production process? 350 Underwater almost suggests a friendly connection between digital making and manual, proposing a reconsideration of the real value of the object, balancing the weight between the time of making and the effort. Will it socially engage you and make you question its intemporality? As a designer, I also question the fact of the making of new objects. For whom are we making them? With conscious in material choices and their intemporality? This conscious concept I will talk further in another way in my next project to present the Vitamin D Home Lab, not in a question of how objects are made, but how could they change lifestyle habits. The Vitamin D Home Lab project started because of where I am now, as I mentioned before, living in Stockholm and understanding the meaning of the so-called winter depression. Winter depression comes from the vitamin D deficiency, where inhabitants from North and South Equator countries with lack of sunlight all year long have higher tendency to suffer from this deficiency. Vitamin D deficiency also happens to be one of the most common deficiencies in the world. Mushrooms are the only non-animal source of food with vitamin D found. And to briefly explain, vitamin D is created from precursors present in our skin, such as humans, animals, and in this case, mushrooms. This happens by the influence of sunlight or the respectively UV light in the specific wavelength range from 280 to 350 nanometers. After research and in collaboration with outside partners, I can determine that one serving of mushrooms enriched with UVB light can cover one's daily recommended amount of vitamin D. Following this, my project seeks to contribute for an information gap between science research and the final consumer. In a time when people increasingly question their food habits or search for natural alternatives instead of chemical supplements, it is important to propose options that could improve our health and lifestyle practices. The Vitamin D Home Lab project aims to showcase and demystify the breakdown of the process of enrichment of mushrooms with vitamin D, inviting also the user into a mindset of home farming and self-sustainable habits. It aims to introduce an appeal for home farming of mushrooms, overcoming prejudice that they are hard to keep in a home urban context. Small molded mycelium of different species of mushrooms give shape to different possibilities of choice disposed at a laboratorial station divided by steps, guided with tools for watering, harvesting and cutting that would help engage into the ritual of producing our own vitamin D at home. With this piece, I would like to invite us to speculate a scenario of all of us having our own daily recommended amounts of vitamin D in a home bioproduction context and readjust our food habits and have access to a different option as a natural medicine. The Vitamin D Home Lab project emerges into a landscape of slow design, where the name itself translates the meaning. It uses rituals to create a better user experience and different time perspectives in order to promote well-being for individuals, society, and natural environments. It aims to produce knowledge and awareness of an alternative of self-sustaining. What if you could make your own vitamin D? Would you be willing to change and replace chemical supplements? This project was part of my master's degree at Consfact University. It was made in collaboration with outside partners. It gained a solid ground thanks to Matthias Andersson, a scientist from KTH Royal Institute of Technology, involved in the studies of the process of enrichment of fungi with vitamin D in Sweden, and Rikard Pedersen from Saxtorp Svamp, a mushroom farm in Sweden, to understand the conditions of farming and growing mushrooms. This project was a result of a connection between different fields, an attempt to build links and a form of communication. This was my interpretation in a form of an object and graphic images that I consider could build a story understandable for most people, putting myself in the skin of not only the scientist and the farmer, but also you and me, family and friends around us. How will people accept a new behavior and how will they perceive it? Do they want to make mushrooms at home and vitamin D? And why? How can I contribute to a better living in our lives using the tools that I have available? Thank you for listening to my talk. If you have further questions, please email me or contact through the social media of the Destiny of Senses exhibition. Also, maybe seems like a good time to introduce to my new project at work this year as almost a second chapter of how to fight winter depression at home. This time focusing on a likely ideal scenario that gathers light therapy and plant therapy. It's called symbiotic light therapy, and it's a proposed shared experience of mutualistic beneficial care that embraces both plant and human needs by convenience for both advantages. More to know at my website. Also would like to invite you for the next conference to happen on the next coming Friday, 22 of November from Alexandra Crucino from Exart. It will be about fashion design. Also would like to mention and to thank the two curators responsible for this exhibition, Selma Eduardo and Paulo Guerreiro, for inviting me to be part of such an interesting project and platform for sharing ideas. Once again, thank you for listening and enjoy the navigation in the wrong piano.